So in this video, I'm going to be talking about negative space. So basically, negative space is everything except for the object. So with this drawing here, we have the chair, and we're basically drawing or shading in everything except for the actual object, like I did here. So we have the shading or the drawing on everything except for the chair. So this can help you to pay more attention to the details and the composition of an object, because if you're paying attention to the openings, that will help you to get your proportions and everything correctly. And then like up here, how I did the letters, negative space is utilized a lot in logos. Two of the more well-known ones are the USA logo for the USA Network, and then also the NBC or Peacock logo. You can see in those, the USA logo, the S in the middle is negative space, and then on the Peacock logo, you can see sort of the body of the peacock is negative space in between those, what's their feathers and everything. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about that. So I'll walk you through the steps. So we'll just redraw this chair here. So the main things that you want to focus on is drawing the negative space, so all the space in between the actual object. I did this one where it's just a white background, that way you can see the negative space a little better. And so if you draw just like in here, these shapes, and then the little spaces in between the little slats in the chair, that can sort of help you to pay more attention to those and get your proportions right. So we'll sort of sketch it out here. So I'm just going to draw the slats in through here first. And I'm going to put a little guideline right here so I know how to line those up. And I'll do the same for the top. There we go. So with like this last one, this last open space here, you can see how it's bigger at the top and then it sort of gets narrow towards the bottom. So that can help you with sort of getting those arranged correctly. All right. So I'm going to erase this guideline up here and down there, or down here and up there. There we go. So now we got the slats in between there. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and draw the outside of this. And since we're drawing the negative space, we're basically just doing like an outline of it, because we're drawing all this white space out here. And then since we have a little bit of a gap right in here, I'll sort of draw that in there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do this leg and this leg. So we're just doing the outline of it. I gotta adjust this part because it goes about right here, I think. Okay, so I got that part outlined. So now I'm going to go through and sort of draw right in through here. Try and get that lined up. So I am sketching sort of the legs and everything, even though it's not part of the negative space, just so I can get the angles right, and then I'll go back through and erase some of that. Okay, so this one sort of needs to go a little bit down this way. Just a rough sketch there of that. And then, so we're going to sketch this up. That's a little too wide for that. And let's see here. This needs to go a little further down. Something sort of like that. Okay, now we're going to try and get this area over here lined up. And I'm connecting it here because we're just doing the outline. So the angles on these are a little bit off, but not too bad. Now I'm just using these as guidelines for these parts in between here. So we can go, we'll do this one down here. So it's sort of like this, going across there. We got a little bit there. And then we have this part that's going across there. So, and it connects to this one. So we'll go ahead and draw this one. About like right there. And this is going to go from here across and sort of curve that a little bit. And we'll go ahead and draw that across. We need the bottom to go across here. And we can see how right here, since we're paying attention to the negative space, there is none right here. So we know that connects. But right here, we can see the negative space in between here. So that helps us to get that proportioned right. So like that, I don't have that proportioned right. So I need to adjust that. So we know that when we look at that, it needs to have that little triangle of open space there, or negative space. Okay, so I think what we need to do is with this angle, it just needs to be turned this way a little bit so it's more like this. That's where it was throwing everything off. There we go. So now we have that little bit of space there. See, now we have that tiny little bit of space. Took us a while to get there, but we got it. All right, so we got that. Now we're going to erase this part where it connects there because we're just doing the negative space. So we're just basically doing an outline of it. Okay, now we got to draw this line back in through here. So that is, yeah, something sort of like that. And we can see right in here, this little rectangle-ish thing, that this leg needs to be pushed this way a little bit. So it needs to curve up a little bit more like this. And it probably needs to be stretched a little bit. So with that, we'll curve this one in a little bit too. So it's a little more straight. Something like that. And that space back in there looks pretty good. So, and we'll erase where it connects because we're just doing outline again. And these actually need to go down further because right here where it sort of splits, so if this was like the part where it split, that goes down a lot further. So these actually need to go like down here. Okay, so now that we've gotten pretty much all this drawn, the outline and everything, erase where those connect, and you might want to erase some of the inside parts where it's sort of, and I forgot to erase that part. All the parts where they connect, because it's just basically an outline, and you're seeing the spots in between the object. So we're not supposed to have any of the connecting lines right here or anything like that. So this is just the negative space. And what's important about this is it helps you to see the different proportions, because usually we look at just the object. And so this lesson is mainly to teach you to look at the negative space, so the space like in between the object, because once you actually start drawing things, that is another aspect that you'll look at to help you better get the proportions right and everything, and make it look a little better. Alright, so with this, so I'm going to use a marker so you can see it on the camera a little bit better. So we're going to color in the negatives, or the negative space like I did here on this one. So all the white is the actual object, and we're just coloring in the negative space. So it's like the opposite. So I'll show you here. Okay, so now we've got all the negative space colored in here so that you can sort of see it a little bit better. I didn't do the best job of drawing this, but you get the basic idea. So it's the negative space, and with this I just colored like a little square rectangle around it, but all this would be negative space, anything that's not the object. But it really helps you to sort of pay attention more to the space in between stuff. And what's cool is, so like I said, they use it a lot in logos and advertising, sort of like up here with these letters. I did a rectangle for them, and then I colored in everything except for the letter. So like I was saying, two of the main logos, or one of the more well-known logos is the USA Network logo and the Peacock or NBC logo. So I'm just going to draw those real quick so you can sort of see. I already put a photo of the actual logos, but I want to draw them so that you can see sort of the method behind it. And these will be in black and white, so it's a little bit easier to see sometimes because it's a higher contrast. All right, so we'll go with the USA logo first. So I'm going to try it with marker, but so it sort of has the U and it stops there. Sort of like this. And then, so it has the U and the A are actually colored in, but the S is the negative space that they left out of there. So it sort of curves sort of like this. It's not the best. Oof, that's horrible. All right, let's try that again. There we go. So I'm going to color all that in. I messed up. That's part of drawing with marker. But anyway, okay, so that's going to be all open. And we're going to have the A over here. So here, and sort of curved up like that. And then down. And then over here to the A. And then there's the hole here in the middle for the A. That's not the best, but sort of something like that. So color this real quick so you can see it. Okay, that is the USA Network logo, and it's usually red with the white in between, but I did it with black and white so you can see the contrast a little bit better. So the U is actually drawn, and the A is actually drawn, but the S is the negative space that you can see in it, which is pretty cool. So if you're going into graphic design or anything like that, or you want to design logos, this is definitely a very important skill you need, or a technique you need. And it's just cool to sort of play around with, to have a different sort of style. Now I'm going to do the NBC logo. This one's a little more complicated. It's the NBC or the Peacock logo, but I'll draw it real quick. So it's mainly, so it's got like, oh goodness, this is going to be bad. Something like this, and then this one curves up like that, and then it's pretty simple. It mainly just has this part up in here, and then like the little beak of the peacock right there. Oh goodness. There's something like that. And it says like Peacock or NBC down here. And these are all different colors, but once again, it's just going to be black real quick. Okay, so that's basically what the NBC or the Peacock logo looks like. And you can tell the peacock here in the middle a little bit, with a little beak. It's pretty subtle, but it works pretty good. So you have the USA logo, the Peacock logo. And so that is the basics of negative space. I hope you learned something from this, and maybe you can experiment with it a little bit. All right, thank you for watching.